This story came from someone named Aaron. He didn't just send it, he begged me to read it, said he's the only one who remembers what happened, and that memory doesn't feel safe anymore. Before he signed off, he wrote one last line. Please tell someone. If no one else knows, I might disappear too. I don't know what to believe, but I'm telling it now, just in case he was right. I found the note tucked between the pages of a book no one had touched in years. I wasn't even supposed to be at the library that day. I'd ducked in to avoid the rain, browsed out of habit. The book was thick, Anthropology of the Forgotten Rituals. When I opened it, a yellowed slip of notebook paper fluttered to the ground. It wasn't a list or a quote. It was strange, handwritten, a little frantic. They look right through me. I talk, I wave, I scream, but no one sees. If you're reading this, I'm still here. Maybe you'll see me. Maybe I won't fade if someone knows. There was no name, just a scribbled date in the corner. April 3rd, 2 weeks ago. I showed it to the librarian. She just frowned and said, "We don't keep notes in books. Must have been some prank." But it didn't feel like a prank. I don't know how to explain what happened next. I didn't go looking for the person who wrote the note. They found me. I was in line at the campus cafe when I first saw them. Short hair, baggy sweatshirt, hands jammed deep into their pockets. They looked familiar, but not in the usual way, more like déjà vu wearing a hoodie. They stepped up behind me, then leaned in, speaking low. "You found it, didn't you?" I turned. "What?" "The note." I just stared. Their smile was tired, brittle. I knew someone would, finally. Their name was Jamie. They said it like it was the first time anyone had spoken it in weeks. Over coffee, they told me more. People forget me. I don't mean like, forget my birthday. I mean literally. I'll talk to someone for an hour, walk away, and 5 minutes later, they'll say they've never seen me before. Teachers, friends, my own roommate. I thought I was going crazy. I left notes and books behind mirrors, inside bathroom stalls, just in case someone did see me. You did. I didn't know what to say, but I didn't forget them. That alone felt like something heavy and wrong, resting on my shoulders. We started meeting, quiet spots, long walks, talking about everything and nothing. Jamie was funny, sarcastic, smart, but also tired. Tired in a way I couldn't fix. They said the forgetting was getting worse. "I think I'm unraveling," Jamie said once, sitting beside me on the library steps. Like the universe keeps trying to erase me but can't finish the job. Maybe you're my anchor. I laughed nervously, but deep down, it didn't feel like a joke. We took a photo together one day, just to test it. I looked at the screen. I was there. Jamie wasn't. Then came April the 24th. Jamie didn't show up for our usual walk. I texted, called. No response. I went to their apartment building. The woman at the front desk tilted her head. "No one by that name lives here." I asked her to check again, showed her the texts. She just looked confused. I ran up the stairs. Apartment 3, Jamie's door. The one with the cracked sticker of a cassette tape. Gone. The whole door looked different. Like a different unit entirely. That night I flipped open the book where I'd first found the note. It was still there, same handwriting, same paper. But now, something new had been scribbled on the bottom. "If I disappear, remember me. You're the last one." And then I felt it. The pull, like something just behind me was watching, waiting. Like a thread between us had just snapped, and something ancient had finally gotten what it wanted. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept reading the note over and over, my eyes tracing every letter like I was trying to hold it in place with my focus. But something about it had changed. The ink at the bottom. It wasn't smudged, it wasn't faded, it looked fresh. like it had just been written, and I swear, when I blinked, for a split second I saw another line appear, but it was gone before I could read it. The next few days were strange. I tried to keep things normal, go to class, run errands, talk to friends, but something felt off. Like my world had shifted just a little to the left, and I couldn't line it up again. People around me seemed distracted, slower to respond, forgetful in small, jarring ways. A friend of mine, I've known him for years, we were talking outside the cafe when I mentioned Jamie. He froze. "Who?" "Jamie," I said. "From Lit Theory, hoodie, short hair, kind of awkward. You sat with them once." He laughed. "I think you're mixing me up with someone else. I don't know anyone named Jamie." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. It never came. I checked my phone. All the texts from Jamie were gone. Every photo I thought we'd taken, blank, or just me alone, looking a little too far to the right, smiling at nothing. I even went to the library, back to the exact shelf, pulled the book. The note was still there, but the handwriting. It wasn't Jamie's anymore, it was mine. Same words, same date, but my handwriting. As if I had written it weeks ago and forgot. I started writing things down, names, dates, conversations. I wasn't sure what I was trying to prove. Maybe that I existed, that something had happened, that Jamie was real, that I was still real. Then I started noticing something else. People looked away from me a little faster, didn't hold eye contact. A professor forgot my name during roll call, twice. My mom called and asked if I was still coming home for the holidays, even though I had just visited last weekend. Each time it happened, I remembered Jamie's words. "I think I'm unraveling." Was it happening to me now? Was remembering Jamie some kind of trigger? Then one night, my reflection didn't wave back. I froze. I was in my room, brushing my teeth. I blinked, lifted my hand. My reflection just stood there, still, watching me. I dropped the toothbrush. When I looked again, it moved, back in sync, like nothing had happened. But I know what I saw. I found one more note the next morning. It was on my desk, written in that same frantic script. "You're next, unless you make them remember." I didn't write that. I would have remembered, wouldn't I? Now, I carry the original note everywhere. I keep it in my pocket, folded tight. It's starting to wear at the edges, but I don't care. It's the only thing that feels real anymore. Sometimes I read it aloud, quietly, under my breath, just to feel the words stick. I'm not sure who I'm trying to save anymore. Maybe it's Jamie, maybe it's me. Maybe that's the same thing now. I got this story from someone named Matt. He told me it started as a joke around the office, a weird new guy no one seemed to notice. But the joke stopped being funny the day he realized he was the only one who remembered him at all. He asked me to share this in case it ever happens again. Because what he found at the end, it was real, and it was personal. His name was Owen. First day, he sat 2 desks down from me. Quiet guy, kind of awkward but polite. Dressed like he'd never quite gotten the memo about business casual. Said he transferred from another department. I didn't ask too many questions. No one really does around here. We shared small talk, lunch breaks, vents about meetings and broken printers. After about a week, it just felt normal. Me and Owen eating outside, trading stories about old jobs and dumb managers. He had this dry, dark humor. Always said stuff under his breath like he was testing whether I'd catch it. And he gave me a nickname, Ritz, short for Ritz Cracker. Said I reminded him of one. I never quite got the joke. 2 weeks in, he was just gone. I showed up Monday, walked past his desk. Empty, no chair, no keyboard. The desk looked like it hadn't been touched in months. I figured maybe he transferred again. But when I asked around, people gave me blank stares. Who? Owen? I repeated. Sat 2 desks down from me. We had lunch every day. Nothing. Even Karen, who sits directly next to that desk, said, "There's never been anyone at that station. That one's always been a spare." I laughed it off at first. Maybe they were messing with me. Office pranks are a thing. But something about their tone, it wasn't playful, it was sincere. I went to HR, told them I was trying to find contact info for a guy named Owen. They said no one by that name had ever worked here. I asked to see the employee directory. No Owen, no one who looked even close. I started thinking I was going crazy. Then I checked my phone, no texts, no photos, not even the one we took together when he spilled mustard all over his shirt and tried to play it off like a fashion statement. It should have been there. I know it was. Gone. I finally went to IT. I told them someone must have wiped my account or deleted shared messages. One of the guys, he likes me, humored me and pulled up security footage from the break area. And there I was, eating alone, day after day, just me, laughing, talking, pausing like I was listening, smiling at nothing. He stared at the footage for a minute and said, "Dude, is this a joke?" But it wasn't. Because I remember what Owen said that day. I remember the way he laughed at my story about the seagull at the beach. I remember him tossing half his sandwich to the pigeons and calling it pension planning. I remember it. After that, I stopped bringing it up. You can only hear, "You've been stressed lately," so many times before you start nodding and smiling just to end the conversation. But I kept looking. There was one thing I hadn't checked: the server logs. I had remembered something Owen told me, offhand, about the printers being rerouted through an older internal system, something he said he had access to in his last department. I figured if I could find even one digital footprint with his name on it, I'd have proof. So I stayed late, a lot. Dug through user activity records, print queues, meeting logs, things most people don't even know get tracked. That's when I found it. A single job sent to the copier 2 weeks ago. User, owen.r@intranet.local. It wasn't a file, it was a scanned page from a notebook. A drawing, crude but familiar. A row of desks, including mine, and a smiley face labeled Ritz. Next to it, a stick figure in a hoodie. A speech bubble above it said, "Bet no one remembers me tomorrow." I printed it, held it in my hands. It was real. And that's when I knew this wasn't some shared delusion. This wasn't stress or a breakdown. Someone went out of their way to be remembered only by me. The next morning, I noticed changes. My work ID wasn't scanning right. My email auto-logout timer was reset. My name was left off a meeting invite that I'd scheduled. And then someone called me Owen by mistake. I froze. "What did you say?" Oh, they blinked. "Sorry, I meant Matt." No one had ever made that slip before. That night, I got a message. Blocked number. No contact name, just a photo, a blurry selfie. Owen, grinning, holding up the same notebook sketch I'd found in the logs, with one added line scribbled in red ink. "Almost done." I don't remember sleeping after that. I started leaving post-it notes for myself. Kept my schedule written in pen. I told a friend what was happening, only to have her text me the next day like nothing had ever happened. Didn't even remember the conversation. That's when I decided to track him down. I used the print job metadata, IP address, device ID, and internal network info. I shouldn't have been able to access any of it. But Owen had shown me once, back when I thought he was real, how to bypass some of the permissions. It led me to an apartment across town. No name on the buzzer, but I remembered the number from a pizza receipt he left on his desk once, 314. I waited until someone left and snuck in. The apartment looked staged, too clean. No personal photos, no clutter, just one thing on the table, a laptop, open, still on. I tapped the mousepad. It showed surveillance footage. Me, at work, dozens of clips, labeled by date and time, most with a note next to them. Ritz still sees me. One said, "Tomorrow, disappear." And then the door creaked behind me. I turned. Owen stood there, arms raised, smiling like we were old friends. "You made it," he said. "I wasn't sure you would." I didn't speak. I couldn't. He walked past me, calmly, and picked up the laptop. You ever wonder what it feels like to pull a thread from someone's mind? Just one person at a time, until they start unraveling? I called the cops. They came. They found the footage. They arrested him. I gave my statement at the station. Spent 2 hours detailing everything, every clip, every lunch, every lie. They told me they'd contact me for follow-up. The next day, I got a call, but not from the department. I called them, just to confirm. They said no one by my name had filed anything. No one had been brought in for questioning. No apartment was visited. No laptop was found. No Owen, nothing. But I remember the sketch. I remember the sandwich jokes. And every now and then someone still slips up and calls me Owen.